Well, hi, I'm Janet Bernstein, and I am a celebrity. My other two archetypes are nurturer and ruler. Although, if I'm being really honest, I really try not to own the nurturer archetype at all anymore. I feel like it did me wrong in my business. And I am from Dallas, Texas, USA. And I'm a shine coach. So, in my quest to learn how to be more of a celebrity and learn to shine online, I sort of discovered that that was my passion, was helping other women overcome some of those challenges, the fear, the self-confidence, and help them learn to shine as well. So I actually changed my entire business around my archetype over the last 2 years. But I've been in Money Bootcamp and SMA for many years. So
now, when you first did the quiz, and so we're going to start with Kerry this time and go around. When you first did the quiz, were you, how did that land for you? Because even the names of some of the archetypes are just like, oh, am I allowed to do that? Is that really me? Or was it an immediate aha? Or did you have to kind of, after SMA, kind of come along to it? So I want to hear just about your ahas about being a celebrity.
So when I found out I was a celebrity, first of all, I just assumed I did something wrong on the quiz and that maybe I had answered the questions wrong, because when I read the descriptions of especially the other two archetypes, my nurturer and ruler, I was like, oh, that's me. Those are me. I was building an online business, but I was also very centered around people. I had a women's organization and retreats. And so everything was very much building things for other people, like down to building websites and being behind the camera and photographing them. And my hair was always in a ponytail. And I was like, I'm not a celebrity. That's not really like who I am. Like, I'm kind of the one behind the scenes cheering for everybody. So I was kind of confused when I first saw the different archetypes. But actually, when I started like watching the videos, and I started like going through what I wanted for my life and my business, the celebrity was there. She was just kind of hiding, and she was just not showing up. She was kind of saying like, oh, well, if you're plus size, nobody wants you to be on camera all the time. Or, oh, if you have wild and curly hair, you've got to tame it to show up, or you have to have your hair done, or you have to have makeup done. Or it was funny, Denise talking about doing her hair and makeup before showing up. I used to have that view that like, oh, well, if I'm going to be this person on social media, I have to do all those things. And I realized that over time, like, it's the personality that really is the celebrity thing. It's not all the other stuff. They all add up. But the ruler really was what I wanted when I first heard of SMA and I signed up and wanted to take the quiz. I was like, oh, I'm a ruler. I know I'm a ruler. I was so excited. And then when I saw the ruler was in the top 3, I was like, I'm just going to tell everybody I'm a ruler because I really liked that one the best. But actually, what's funny is over the last couple of years, I did change my business around to where the focus was a little bit more on me. And like I think it was Rebecca that said, showing the vacations and the lifestyle, like that actually was my personality very much. So now I was like, oh, well, now I don't have to hold back, and like I can show like what we did, the upgraded swim out suite or whatever we did, and I could actually kind of own that because it really was part of like my true personality. And what's funny is I started wanting to show up more. I wanted to shine more. I wanted to buy, clothes other than black. I actually owned almost all black and gray clothes for a long time. And now like everything is color. Even my nails are color all the time. So I think just finding out the results were a little shocking at first. But I think that anybody that's even considering SMA has got to know that like your archetype could be hiding. It could be hiding because of different reasons. And I was able to uncover some of the reasons why, trauma and environment and relationships and different things that caused me to kind of suppress that celebrity thing. But once I embraced her, then I really did start attracting everything that I was supposed to be doing. And I really I had like all sorts of light bulbs that went off. It was like, oh my gosh, this is why it was so hard before, because I wasn't really being me. I wasn't shining.
I want you to go back a little bit into your childhood and think of a particular story. And Rebecca, I'm sure you have other ones too, so please share again about this. But every archetype has been told from a young age that they're wrong in some way, like the accumulators were saving their money in their piggy banks from an early age. The alchemists were told they're dreamers at an early age. And we were kind of told that who we are isn't valuable, or that we should change it. So I would love to hear a story about where, or even something, like Rebecca said about, I was called stuck up, were you called a princess? Were you called a diva? Do you remember something where you kind of went, oh, wow, maybe I shouldn't, be the center of attention, or maybe I shouldn't have desires. And maybe you're a bit shamed for it. So just connect back to that little baby celebrity that you were.
So I remember from a very young age that school came very easy to me, and I seemed to just like know the answers to everything. And so anytime a teacher would say, does anybody know the answer to blah, blah, blah? I was always raising my hand. And I remember, I don't know what grade, maybe third grade or fourth grade. I just remember there was like one particular class, a certain teacher, where he said, does anyone other than Janet know the answer to this question? And I just sat there and I was so embarrassed, because I was like, oh, I raised my hand too much, or I talk too much, or I share, too much or whatever. And honestly, it changed my entire, school life. Like I stopped raising my hand in all the classes. Unless a teacher specifically like nurtured me and told me, I want you to show up and raise your hand. And so it wasn't until really I got to SMA and Money Boot Camp that I started connecting these old, stories. And I realized that the reason why I didn't shine was I had that fear of outshining. That it was basically an upper limit problem. But basically I was afraid to say, I know the answer. Or that I was better, or whatever it was. I was afraid to audition for the role. I was afraid to do whatever it was, because, everyone was like, oh, this Janet, she does everything, or she knows everything, or, whatever the thing was. And so I became shy, even though like, I'm not a shy person really at all. And so it's very interesting when I learned I was celebrity status, and I was kind of laughing. I was like, oh, I do remember as a kid, I used to like host talent shows like in my backyard and charge admission. And I ran little businesses out of my garage, and, I'm like, it does make sense, but like, I just wonder, somewhere along the line, if I had not been asked, to stop raising my hand, maybe how soon I could have realized I was a celebrity. So I find that very interesting now, especially as a mom. I know lots of moms are starting to recognize the differences in their kiddos. I know as a mom of 5, like we pick up on the different things between the different kids. So I find it fascinating now.
Janet, do you have anything that you wanted to add to this as well, of this conversation? Yeah, what we've talked about so much of pricing and clients.
So I will say, when I first took the quiz and found out my archetypes, and I admitted that I felt they were wrong at first, but I really looked at my business, and what I was sort of offering at that point was a lot of done for you services. And a lot of them were very tailored to a demographic that maybe either didn't have funds, or were in just a position where like everything was a lower price, or negotiated down, or discounted, or whatever. And even the women's organization that I ran, and the events, everything seemed to be leaning on that nurturer side. And I even got to the point where I was like doing surveys and asking, what do you guys want next? And this and that. And before you know it, I was doing everything that they were saying, and nothing was really powerful. So I remember the last event I hosted with this women's group, before I literally said, I'm making a change. But I decided to make the entire event all about the other people at the that were attending. And so kind of the pass the mic, hotspot type of thing, instead of my normal where I'm on stage and I sort of lead them through some sort of exercise, aha moment, something like that. And I kind of take on this crazy persona on stage. where I sort of become like almost this comedian and everybody like really loves it. And so there was none of that at this event. In fact, there was no stage. Like I literally had the stage taken out of the room, and it was just like these round table things of just the everyday women talking. And at the end of the event, I was first of all like completely depleted. I was like, that was not exciting. That was I'm like, I really don't. The new people that visited, the first timers, I was like, this is not a good representation of what's normally here. And a lot of the people afterwards were like, hey, you're not going to do that story roundtable thing again, are you? And I'm like, I probably won't. They're like, oh, thank goodness. And everyone was like, we miss you. We miss you on stage. We miss that, the fire, I'm like, oh, okay. And then it was kind of at that moment where I was like, if I'm not being me and I'm not actually showing up as who I'm supposed to be, like I'm also preventing them from doing it too. By me saying like, I'm just gonna, let everybody share the mic, and that's not what they signed up for. There's a reason why they wanted to come to these events. People don't come to see Beyonce so that they can sing along on stage. They want to see that magic up there. And so I had to kind of get over some of them, and a lot of them were probably just internal stories I had said in my head, like, oh, everybody wants to turn at the mic, or everybody's story matters, which does, but not in this way. And I had to kind of overcome that. And then once I shifted back into this is me, I even had like new photos done, and really decided to like own that magic. Then I attracted like even more people to the events, and they went back to being magic. And of course, until the pandemic shut everything down. But before that, everything was on fire. So yeah, I definitely see that as being a really important aha moment.
Really important, and it's hugely valuable. And there's a couple of things in here, right? Is that celebrities have to just accept the fact that people trust their leadership, and if you think of some traditional celebrity careers where people go into design or interior design or fashion or styling or whatever, it's because celebrities are tastemakers. And I'm sure there's times where people come to you because they know, what do I do? What is the thing that I should do? Whether it's what's the right paint color, what is the right, underwear to wear with this dress or this pair of shoes, or however your celebrity comes out, people come to you because they know, or they really trust your taste. So I think that's such a big aha, is to trust your own leadership. And before you said share the mic, Janet, I actually put, it's because you've been taught to share the spotlight at some point, right? And I'll unmute you again. But you've been told, no, wait your turn, or everyone gets a turn. And that didn't work in your business, to go, it's everyone. It's like, no, they're here to see the Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it's so true. It wasn't until after I attempted to do that I really realized that that's not what they wanted. They want to be seen and heard, but you are fully capable as a good leader in letting your people know that they're seen and heard, even if you don't hand them the microphone. And that was a huge aha for me, in that the best way I can show up for them is doing what I do best, which is getting on stage. And I do it well, and I just had to own it, and I had to be okay with it. And once I figured that out, it was easy, and I never sent another survey again.
I want to talk about clients, okay? Because there's always a couple of schools of thought, right, around who are your clients. And some people just go, I'll serve anybody. The connectors, right? And the nurturers, they're like, I'll serve anybody. And rulers are like, I'll take money from anyone. But often we're either teaching a younger or a less experienced version of who we are, or like Rebecca was saying, we're kind of teaching our opposite, and we've got the missing puzzle piece that they need. And even just realizing that the customer journey, each archetype, just say, okay, cool, you can help accumulators, right, Rebecca? But it's accumulators at a particular point in their journey. And what I'm realizing so much from this is that I'm not looking for, especially for SMA, I'm not looking to market to celebrities who are already in their true celebrity power. Like that is such an aha here. I'm looking for the ones it's just under the surface and they need the permission to take it out, right? So even just from this conversation, I'm going back to the videos to say, this might be shocking and surprising to you. But if you really like look into your heart, you know this is true. It's just you've repressed it. You've been told it's wrong. And so now I know that exact language that I can teach, and I don't have to waste my time trying to convince people who are already there to come and work with me, because they'll be like, no, you can't show me anything. You can't give me anything. So thank you. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I suspected that, but you guys have just really solidified it for me. So I want to hear if you've had similar ahas, or if you've changed who your ideal client is, and how did you change that? Did you change your language, or did you change, did you let go of some clients? You know, was there pain around having to not then serve everybody?
So I actually had a huge aha moment when I really started looking at who I was attracting to my business. And I know I did a lot of done for you type services, but I really wanted to get away from the constant, you know, help me, I'm stuck, can you just fix it, to I'm ready to learn, what can you tell me to do? And so I actually, after so many months of like procrastinating and like watching lots of videos and trying to figure out, make sure I was doing all the right things, I launched an online course. And I was able to put all of my stuff in there, record the videos. I did the outfit changes, which is a total celebrity thing. And once I was done, it was like this huge weight had been lifted. And it was very easy. The first couple of messages I got where someone was like, oh, I was just looking at your course information, and gosh, it looks like, so it's self-paced, and I just do, and I'm like, yep. And it was much less of, you know, don't worry, I'm there every step of the way, which was kind of that nurture thing that I used to always do. And also the ruler thing, which was I would take money from anybody. I would say, I will help anybody who's ready to do this. And now I'm very specific. It's like, if you know you're meant for more, but something's holding you back, there might be a lack of confidence, or you're scared to go on camera, but you're not sure why, this is for you. And it's completely go at your own pace. You do this in your time, and it's very empowering, and I'm putting it back on them. So I feel like I'm much less like, I'm not like enabling anybody to like text me all hours of the night, you know, help me, what do I do? Instead of, here's my course, and walk you right through it. And so it really felt, I channel my inner Denise. That's what I say all the time. Is I put together my own boot camp, basically. And, you know, that's completely tailored around my business and my expertise. And that made life a lot easier. I still struggle with the nurturer part when people reach out. There's a part of me that's always like, oh, here's my cell phone. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I gotta stay in my power.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.